Good evening, gents and gents. Welcome back to CRS Season 3 with what is actually Round 8 of the Championship. Because what happened last week? Apparently there was configuration issues with the lobby, and thus that round didn't count. So that's a bit irritating for everyone who's took part in the race. But, oh well, at least there was some racing going on. This week though, with any luck, things should be going with the championship. And locking up, because that's what I do best, isn't it? But yeah, with any luck, this will be counted as a championship round. Just need to get the configuration issues out of the way. This lobby should... I'm not entirely certain. Will it be full? And by the way, can anyone hear me? Actually, I have a way to check. I'll just turn my phone volume up. Yes, I can. I am able to be heard. Okay, so let me just check the lobby, or the number of people who have signed up anyway. Currently we've got 12 people in the lobby, excluding me. Where's the registrations? Registrations. So we should have a mostly full lobby. We should have 18 people turning up. Actually, though one person has already pulled out, so Nevo is not going to be taking part, as something came up. Unfortunately, unexpected happenings can happen. So Nevo is not taking part. You'll also note that there's someone called Tim F140. That is not someone new. That is actually Toss from last week, and I think the week before as well, using an alternate account. 13 people have showed up. So currently both Williams are here. We've got Crazy Steve in the Haas, Mockrane in the Alfa Romeo, got Toss in one of the Alpines, no sign of Sam. We've got both of the McLarens, one of the Red Bulls, got Bradley in one of the Ferraris, and there's Ben Dixon too. Pookie in a Mercedes. I see, yeah. Pookie is reserve. Now, Tim VD in the other Mercedes, who is not here yet. Both Aston Martins. So we're still waiting on Dan Edwin, Tim VD, Anas, and Faco in the AlphaTauris. Still no sign of Darth. I think that's... oh, and Sam too. So yes, Anas, Tim VD, Sam and Faco have not shown up. And as speak of the devil, Sam shows up. So that's both the Alpines here now. Let's see if the if I'm dropping any frames. It will take about 20 seconds for the stream to show because there's about a 20-second delay. Don't know why I've gone with low latency, but oh, Faco has appeared. So we've got one of the avatars. It doesn't look like I'm dropping frames on the stream at the moment. Hopefully, frames won't be dropped at all. Race should be starting now, but we're still waiting for a couple more people. Dan Edwin has appeared. So both Red Bulls now accounted for. Still waiting for Anas and Tim VD, however. As yet, no sign of them, but people are readying up. Therefore, they'll probably just have to join later on. Anas and Tim probably not going to be joining. Who knows? We'll see. Oh, lobby updated. Everyone's readying up again, so... So, Silverstone Circuit, it's not my favourite in this year's game. It was half decent, I found, on F1 2020, but this year I just can't get Cops or Maggots and Beckett's just right, so I'm finding it very difficult, and as I learned in our 5-lap races last night, I was just nowhere in a straight line. I was using a readily available setup, but for whatever reason I was just so slow. Right, well, we're getting into qualifying now. There's going to be 16 drivers, so one person will be knocked out. One person. It's not much of a Q1, is it? But we'll see. Meanwhile, I've got some chocolate bars that I'm going to tuck into. I'm peckish. And the loudness of the pits always manages to surprise me a little bit. Right. So Faker looks to be experimenting, well, not experimenting, but to get rid of the medium tyres first. I'm not certain which tyre will be the best to start on here. I would have thought the mediums, but the softs have proven to be quite durable this year. So, multiple drivers now coming out of the track, including the McLaren of Wissenheimer, as Toss is the first man out on track. Behind him is the Haas of Crazy Steve. And one of the Ferraris, that would be Ben Dixon. That chocolate bar is quite chewy. So Faco is getting his medium tyres out of the way, which means he'll probably be looking to start the race on the softs. Of course, it's weather dependent. I don't know what the weather's going to be like this weekend. It's quite dark, rather cloudy. Anyway, Tim, toss even. First driver approaching the start-finish line here. We're right on board with this lap for now. Close the spectator menu. Didn't look like the cleanest turn one, but early days. Track is quite green. Going around Village and onto the Wellington Straight. Right about now. Opens the GRS. Powering down towards Brooklands, I think it's called. Going purple, obviously. First lap, first time lap that anyone is doing. Going around, I can't remember the name of it, through Woodcut, onto the old start-finish straight, and towards the old turn one of Cops. He nicely does it, much better than I could manage last night, and into the infamous Maggots and Beckett's, doing it so much better than I ever will be able to. And onto the Hangar Straight. DRS wide open. Under the bridge you've got a yellow flag. That's one of the Williams slowing down. Going through Stowe corner. Down to the Vale chicane. Fuel is very low for this Alpine. Through the final corner, and it's a 127.5. Crazy Steve next across the line, and car number 13, unlucky for some, can only do a 128.1 as Colin goes a tenth and a bit behind Toss. Tiamo goes 127.9. Both the Red Bulls are coming across, and Ivan Hafterkamp goes fastest so far, 127.4. Meanwhile, Lennart, going around the final bend across the line, goes fastest, but only by a few hundredths. 127.458. That's, I believe, 0.018 faster than the Red Bull of Ivan Hafterkamp. Bradley comes across the line next, followed closely by Faco. Bradley's lap did not count, or that was an out lap. No, they must have invalidated their laps here. Mockrain across the line next. Hyper in the Williams goes fastest, 127.357. Pookie on an out lap, and Cohen has aborted his lap. He's got an invalidation, so he'll be going again. But it looks like he's got enough fuel on board to cope with this, as there's the Aston Martin of Colin had overtaken Toss's Alpine. Colin goes faster, 127.2 now. Both of the McLarens stay out to complete their next fast flying lap attempts. Wissenheimer goes third fastest. Tiamo Power does not improve. He was I think what they've been doing here is... there's a car going off there. That's Wissenheimer. It appears that he made a mistake through Abbey. So I think what they were trying to do was give slipstreams to one another. And it looked like Wissenheimer was going to give a slipstream to Tiamo, but that is obviously not panned out. Not sure what happened to Wissenheimer there, but it evidently was not planned. Next across the line is Pookie. Going through the Vale chicane now. Through the final turn, whose name escapes me. Across the line, goes first. provisional pole, 127.1. And there's been a spin for Sam through Vale, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue as Crowan goes 8th. Colin retires from the session in preparation for the next session. Next across the line is going to be a Red Bull. I'm not sure which one it is. Not Ivan, it's Dan Edwin. Comes around over the finish line. Fastest lap so far, 127.156. And his teammate goes 4th. Red Bull's looking quite strong here today. Next across the line is going to be Faco. He's invalidated once again, but he has the 11th fastest time. Currently 2 drivers have not set a lap time here, Sam and Mockrane. As a Ferrari goes past, not sure which one it was. It was Bradley. Pookie coming through the final corner now. Across the line, goes fastest with a 127.0. And behind him is Sam in the Alpine. Going through Vale. Fuel is critical. Through the final corner. And across the start-finish line now. And he goes slowest by far. A 10th, an entire second off 14th placed Crazy Steve. But as it stands, he will get through into Q2 as Mockrane has yet to set a time. However, Mockrane is coming out of the pits right now, so I'm going to take this opportunity to try and finish off the rest of this chocolate bar. Bradley goes second, 127.1, as Tim VD has joined, a bit too late. Sam looking to improve, maybe, or no? Fuel is critical, he's going to come into the pits. Curran attempted to improve. Looking good so far. And does improve to 4th place, 127.170. Mockrane starting his lap time now. Flying lap. So will his first sector look? Got a while to go. Comes through village, / farm, / whatever it's called. Down onto the Wellington Straight. And of course, after the Vickers Wellington medium bomber of World War II, across the sector line, that's a 27.6. Not saying how much faster it is. Faster or slower it is. They've got a yellow flag. That's a car ahead. That's a Williams. Moves aside to let the Alfa Romeo pass. Mockrane pulling off cops quite well there. Better than I could manage. Through Maggots and Beckett's. Nicely does it. Keeping on 6th gear, I always have to shift down to 4th, coming through Maggots, no, Beckett's even. Through the Stowe turn now, where Michael Schumacher had his crash that broke his leg and kicked him out for much of the 1999 season as Mockrane comes round to finish the lap now across the line. only goes 14th, but that's enough to push Sam down into the last place. Sam only has a 1:29.1. That's 1.2 seconds behind Tiamo Power's McLaren. Tiamo going on the mediums, trying to get them out of the way by the looks of things. I'm not certain who's setting a lap here. It looks like Faco is going to improve here. Yep, Faco goes fastest. First man into the 126s with a .987. Next across the line will be Sam, starting a lap. Tiamo Power, who is actually on a flying lap at this moment. So Tiamo looking to improve. And it should be noted that Mokrain is a 10th behind Crazy Steve's Haas. So Tiamo has to improve at least a 10th. And invalidates just before the line. So that is not ideal. So he's going to have to go again. So a bit of a rotten luck for the McLaren driver there, but he's on the mediums, so he should be able to he'll be able to carry on, go for another attempt. Meanwhile, Leonard's coming through Stowe now, towards Vale, as he's going to improve his time as well, or attempting to at least. Aston Martin looking planted, unlike the real thing. Manages to improve to 5th with a 127.166, 100th behind Dan Edwin, and 4,000ths ahead of Curran. Next across the line will be Faco. No, he's coming into the pits. Sam will be next across the line then. Evidently going to try and improve his 129. Sounded like there was a lock-up there going into Vale. Shifts up early into 4th through the final chicane corner. Does improve, but it's not enough. That he's only a couple of hundredths behind Tiamo Power in the McLaren. So Sam is going to have to go again. Now Ben Dixon in the Ferrari starts another flying lap. Car number 8, the faux, I should say, Romain Grosjean, going through village or farm, whatever it's called. Wish it was still bridge, Abbey and Bridge, onto the Wellington Straight. DRS wide open under the bridge. Sector time is 1.5 tenths improved. 1.5 tenths up, even, on your best time. Through Woodcut now, onto the old start-finish straight. Ferrari looking mighty quick. Through Copse. Almost overcooked it, by the looks of things, but managed to keep it on the track. Going through Maggots and Beckett's. Shifting down into 5th. We've got a yellow flag that's from someone retiring in the pit lane. Onto the Hangar Straight, down towards Stowe corner. Easily does it. Shift down 3 gears. Obviously wants a little bit more rotation. 6th gear can be quite understeery. Into Vale now. Shifting up into 3rd early. Through the final corner. And across the line. He improves by 2 tenths, but it's not enough to improve his position. And he invalidates the next lap. So he's going to have to go for a cooldown here. There won't be enough time for anyone else to come out and get a lap time in. Who's next? We've got Bradley on his out lap. Mokrain on an out lap. We've also got Crazy Steve and Tiamo Power also on an out laps. I think Tiamo has decided that the medium tyres aren't actually what you should be using in Q1. Mokrane needs to improve at least a 10th to go up to 13th place. But Crazy Steve is also going to want to try and improve as well. So as it stands, Bradley will be the first man across the line, coming through... I can't remember what the name of that corner is. Oh, it goes wide and spins on the exit of that corner. So that's Bradley's lap over. I managed to catch that. So that's a bit of rotten luck for the Ferrari, but he's in a good position. It's unlikely he's going to be knocked out. So next it will be Mokrane who will get the first valid final flying lap in this session as Sam retires. Sam is going to be knocked out. I think he's decided that he's not going to improve, and he's just decided to call it there. So as it's Mokrane will be going through, as will Tiamo Power. There's probably no real need for them to complete their laps, except for pride, really, as the Alfa Romeo comes into the fair chicane through the final corner. Alfa Romeo looking extremely planted, unlike the real thing, and improves to 11th with a 127.5. Next up is Crazy Steve all the way back at Maggots and Beckett's as Tiamo has spun at Cops, but it's no matter as he is through. So there's no harm from that spin. He's already through. Sam is not taking part as we've got more disco lights on the Haas, who has invalidated as well, but it's no real matter as they are both through. So just go across that finish line and let the AI take control. So, one driver out of 16 knocked out, and that is CRS Sam, who just couldn't improve his lap times there. Bit unfortunate, as I know that Sam is capable of quite a lot more, but it's quite likely that this field is really the strongest it's been in a while. Lennart, the Season 1 champion, down in 5th, but that can change, as Lennart has won at least one of the previous races. In fact, he's won at least two. He won Australia, and he won... not Spain. That was Bradley who won Spain. He won France. That's the one he won. And he won the non-championship race in Austria, which is going to be the season finale now. So... there's that. Moving on into Q2, we're down a single driver. I reckon we'll see what strategies people try and take here. As I said earlier, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. So we could have a wet race, or a wet to dry, or dry to wet. So it depends, really, what kind of tyres people will be going on. At the moment, people are on the softs, so... Colin is the first man on track. In the Aston Martin, one of the cars, number 15. Behind him is both of the Aston Martins, as well as Crazy Steve in the Haas. We've got a Williams of Hyper, the Alfa Romeo of Mokrane. We've got Lennart. We've got the other Williams of Crowan, both of the Ferraris. Faco. Faco is coming out now. So, Toss and Pookie are the only drivers still in the pits. The race is going to be entirely wet as Colin loses it through Cops on his outlap, but manages to keep it out of the wall. So you really don't want to overcook the outlap, mate. I'm really, as there's disco lights on the Aston Martin's shark fin there, so I'm not sure what's going on with my what's it called? The shark fins on my cars here. We're gonna have an entirely wet race that might be rather interesting. We'll see how people will do. So no medium tyres here. Everyone's going to want to be setting the best lap they can. Ivan, first driver across the line to start a flying lap. Dan Edwin, close second. Colin, who has recovered from his spin. I think, is that Colin? Yes, it is. It is Colin. As every driver is now out on the track to start a lap, on their out lap or on the flying lap. Ivan on the Wellington Straight through sector 1. We don't have any lap data, so I don't know what time that was. But less than 36 seconds, that's for certain. Through Woodcut onto the old main start-finish straight, past the old pits, through Copse, absolutely planted as the car behind shifts down to manage Copse. So Dan Edwin probably not as comfortable through that hard right-hander. Onto the hangar straight now, under the bridge. Both the Red Bulls looking mighty this weekend. Well, this Wednesday even. I'm too used to the real races. Through Vale. And then the final corner, which is right here across the line. What's the banker? It's a 127.2. Dan Edwin 2/10 behind with a 127.4. Colin goes second, 127.3. Crazy Steve is next across the line, followed by a Williams. Crazy Steve only manages a 128.2, and Hyper in the Williams goes second with a 127.216, only 2 thousandths behind Ivan. Mockrain is next, and then it's Lennart. Mockrain slowest time, Lennart fastest time, back into the 126s, 126.917. Mockrain only a 128.221. We've had both Ferraris going across. Bradley is fourth, 127.313. Ben Dixon only manages 8th, but these times are really quite close. Faco, 1 thousandths behind Lennart in the AlphaTauri, so that's incredibly close. Pookie, though, goes even faster, 126.8 in the Mercedes. I didn't see that coming, as Toss is coming into the pits, as obviously doesn't have enough fuel to complete a second lap. He invalidated his first one, so that's put him at a disadvantage already. But there's still 10 minutes left in the session. So Colin's initial lap was not good enough to keep him in what was second when he set it. He's now down in 7th. Ivan into 4th. Dan Edwin into 8th. Both the Aston Martins performing another lap. Tiamo is 9th in the first McLaren. Wisenheimer 2nd with a 128.1. Rather shocking laps from the McLaren pairing. I know they've done reasonably well on the previous races. Maybe it's just not their day. But we'll see. Maybe they'll pull something out of the bag, like the real McLaren team has. Another Ferrari goes across the line. That would be Bradley trying to do a second lap on his soft tyres. Another car comes across the line. That is Crowan, who goes second, 127.088. Dan Edwin coming through Copse and invalidates on the exit, so Dan Edwin is going to either have to try another lap time here or pit for fresh rubber and more fuel. Ivan has not... Oh, and I think... Was Ivan aborting there? yes, Ivan is aborting. His sector times probably weren't as good as they could have been. So both Red Bulls going into the pits for fresh rubber and more fuel. Bradley in the Ferrari coming through Meggetts and Beckett's now. DRS opens onto the hangar straight. Not invalidated so far. I wasn't paying attention to the sector time, so I didn't see it. Wish it would stay up a little bit longer. Just clipped the grass, but didn't send him round. And immediately pits. I don't think that the time he had was as good as he would have liked. We've got both of the Williams on laps, but Crowan is the only one on a fast lap here. Comes across the line, improves by 0.06 of a second. Not quite enough. It's an improvement, but not a massive one, as Toss begins his next lap. In fact, his first proper attempt at a flying lap here. Followed closely behind by Pookie on an out lap. Comes through Village now. Turn off the tyre details. Through the hangar straight, he's got a lot of... No, actually didn't have any slipstream, as an AlphaTauri and a Williams make room for him. Both McLarens on outlaps too, except Wissenheimer, who's come across to start his flying lap. Crazy Steve also on a flying lap. Trying to improve that rather dismal 128.2. What can Toss do in the Alpine? He's going to have a bit of dirty... Oh, it's starting to rain, actually. So whatever lap Tim can do here is going to be crucial, as this will probably be the only attempt he can get at a fast lap. At a dry lap time, even. The car's not sounding as fast through Stowe as all the others have. So obviously there's got to be some grip issues right now. The track is gonna be a bit greasy. Tim comes across the line. It's only 12th, and that's probably his only chance at getting out of the bottom 5. Ben Dixon is on an outlap too, but it depends how wet the track is gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be enough. Crazy Steve coming through Vale now. Followed just down the road is Wissenheimer, and Tim Toss has retired. He knows that was his one and only attempt. And Crazy Steve was 0.2 down on his best attempt. Wissenheimer an entire second down on his previous best. That Edge will be next across the line, as will Mockrane. Both Ferraris on outlaps. Next across the line, who's on a flying lap, is Tiamo Power. He's 0.4 down on his best. Actually, he's 2 seconds down on his previous best, and he went off the track too. So this lap is not going well. Definitely slower through the turn there, and he's invalidated as well. Pookie comes in as well. So yeah, the track is too wet now. In fact, who is still on track? Wissenheimer is on track. What's the sector time? It doesn't matter. He's just invalidated. He went wide, or too narrow through Beckett's, and he's almost 3 seconds off the pace. So, yeah, that confirms it, really. The track is too wet, despite the fact that DRS is still enabled. It's too wet. Red Bull. What can the Red Bull do? That is 3.8. That's almost 4 seconds off the pace. Bradley being held up by Colin on an intershot Aston Martin. Both Ferraris held up by the Aston Martin. One has an invalidated time, but both would appear to have been about 10 seconds off the pace. Both are coming into the pits. And yeah. This track is too wet. Dan Edwin trying to go for another attempt at a faster lap, but the track is just too wet. What's the Sector 1 time going to be? That's 2.3 seconds off the pace, and that gulf is just gonna keep growing. And he's already invalidated. He will cut Brooklands. Colin on the inters. You're not going to go any faster than that on inters, so that the grid has more or less been set, and the track is obviously so greasy, with Aston Martin having a bit of a difficult time exiting through Woodcote. People are retiring now. The grid has almost certainly been set unless the sun comes out and blasts the track with radiation. Unless you get a Martian war machine and blast it with one of its heat rays. This track is not going to be dry anytime soon, so we're going to have a wet Q3, I think. But people are still trying to go for faster laps on soft tyres, Faco included, trying to get some heat into those slicks, but surely he would just be going straight on and Stowe there. I can't imagine that he's going to go much faster than what he's already managed. So the fastest time of qualifying, it's looking like it's going to be Pookie's 126.854. And he spins. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. He's lost traction, aquaplaned through the first corner, Abbey. And this session is over. Just end it now. Just retire. There's no point in staying out. Tiamo's going on inters. But DRS is still active. Which is a bit odd, because normally you'd have had it disabled by now. 2.7 off the pace. It's not enough. You cannot improve your lap times. And getting a bit squirrely through Woodcote, and invalidates as a result. Pookie also in inters. Faco on the softs. Oh, and he goes off at Beckett's, and he spins, loses a front wing. Yeah, slicks on a greasy track. A wet track even. Not great. Yeah, a 27.2 in time trial and a 28.2 in qualifying. Time trial is is literally like a perfect environment. So time trial is just different. It just works differently. You could drive the lap of your life in qualifying and get a 128.2, and then go into time trial and then do an entire second quicker, because time trial is just so different. Don't ask me why or how. So the bottom 5 have been decided here. It's Mockrane, Crazy Steve, Wisenheimer, Toss/Tim, and Ben Dixon are the drivers who have been knocked out. We move on to a wet Q3 with Pookie, Lennart, Faco, Crowan, Ivan, Hyper, Bradley, Colin, Dan Edwin, and Tiamo Power. Best lap of the session, 126.854. Don't think anyone is going to improve on that in Q3. Will it be inters or full wets? We shall see. How much was in this? 50 centiliters, otherwise known as 500 millimeters, milliliters even. They get all my syllables mixed up. So, on to Q3, and it's almost certainly raining. In fact, it is almost torrential. Well, we shall see. Detail. Everyone is... Well, it's going to be full wet by the looks of things here. So just a really dismal day. But that's Britain. You always get rain, except when you don't. No winters here. Once again, Colin is going first. Dan Edwin and Ivan are next. And already getting a bit loose and... whatever the word is. A bit foot loose through the exit of the pit lane. Goes to show just how little grip there is out here, despite the wet tyres as he goes around. Lots of oversteer, overcooked it. Out of the village, I think that is. Grip is just non-existent. Everyone coming out of to the track on an outlap, as the Ferrari gets a little bit squirrely too. So we shall see how things go. Incredibly slow through Maggots and Beckett's, doing the same sort of lap time that the 2016 cars were doing in the dry. Not lap time, speeds. Well, maybe lap time as well, but definitely speeds. Maximum speed around Beckett's was typically 105 miles an hour through with the 2016 cars, and now it's up to about 130. So Colin will set the benchmark for Q3 unless he makes a mistake through farm / village / whatever it's called down towards the Hangar Straight. Bit of a wheel spin off rear end, trying to go first but gaining control of it. 31.102 is the first sector benchmark. Goes purple, obviously. Going really quite wide through Brooklands. Through Woodcut now. will have to definitely downshift twice through Cops, such as the conditions. You can't take Cops flat this time in this weather. Maggott and Beckett's looking really quite treacherous onto the grass and through onto the hangar straight. No DRS, obviously. It's too wet. FIA doesn't like having the DRS on in the wet. Through Stowe, just at a snail's pace. Sort of. Comparatively. Sort of 1970s speeds almost. And exits Vale through the final turn. Car just doesn't look, just on the edge of control really. Benchmark is a 138.7. Dan Edwin can only manage 5/10, is half a second behind even. Ivan is next, has invalidated his lap time, so that's not gone well. As has Tiamo. Faco goes fastest, 3/10 up on Colin, 138.4. Leonard can only manage a 140.0. And Bradley goes 138.3, so almost an entire tenth ahead of Faco. Crowan is the next person across the line. Car on the edge of control, drifting through the final corner. Manages fourth, 138.8. And Pookie is final car across the line, goes third, 138.474. Two drivers have had their lap times deleted for track infringements. That's Tiamo Power in the McLaren and Ivan in one of the Red Bulls. However, because the weather is so wet, you can afford to keep going. The tyres are quite durable. So, on second lap attempts, immediately these times are just the benchmarks. They will not be final times. Colin has invalidated his next lap, so next across the line to set a valid lap is going to be Dan Edwin, looking to improve that rather dismal 139.2. 9/10 behind Bradley. Red Bull looking much better through the final corner, improves by by almost 3/10. Ivan goes fastest now, 138.2. Tiamo next. Tiamo goes 9th. Faco goes fastest now, 138.1. Leonard not looking so comfortable through the weather, only goes a second faster than his previous time, but Bradley also improves. The times keep tumbling down. Bradley goes fastest, 138.101. Cohen has invalidated. Pookie has also invalidated, but there's plenty of time, almost certainly plenty of fuel as well, as some random person has joined the lobby. Looks like a friend of Hyper and Cohen. Colin has not invalidated yet. His fuel is critical. This will be more than likely his final attempt at a fast lap. Well, not final, so... No, it won't be his final attempt. It'll be his last for now. God, brain, find the right words, honestly. Through Cops. Very sluggish. On the edge of grip. Comes into the pits. Ivan is coming through Stone now. Oh, we've had a car going around. Faco has gone round at the exit of Beckett's. And Dan Edwin has invalidated. Tiamo, slowest car on the track, 139.2. Going through the final corner now. What can he do? Improves by only a 10th. Leonard next has goes round, and that's not gone well for the Season 1 champion. So he's going to want to go to... Yeah, he's going to have to come back into the pits, bolt on a fresh set of wets, and keep the fuel low, I think, as Crowan improves to third place at 138.2. But Pookie is the first man into the 137s an entire 3/10 ahead of Bradley for the Mercedes driver. So that was really quite unexpected. Colin coming back out on the track. I think that's gonna... In fact, no, he's on the same set of wet tyres. He was just refueling his car. Ivan also coming onto this on the same tyres. I think they're probably trying to keep the other wet tyres for the race. You don't want to use them up. You only get 2 sets of wets. Dan Edwin has invalidated, but he's still got plenty of fuel on board. He can go for at least another lap. Oh, the car's on the edge of control though. Really wants to lose that rear end. Next across the line is going to be Tiamo, but he's invalidated. So Bradley has also invalidated. Faco has invalidated. Leonard has invalidated. Surely not. Surely they can't have all invalidated. Maybe they have. The game probably isn't lying in this regard, anyway. We've got a yellow flag. Someone slowing down. That's Pookie coming into the pits for more fuel. Crowan is going to be setting a lap. Actually, no, he's not. He's been slow. So he must have had a spin. That car is really wanting to lose the rear end. So Williams looking absolutely torrid to drive. Torrid, also known as horrid. Colin on an outlap. Hyper on an outlap. Ivan on an outlap. One car in the pits, that's Pookie. Pookie's not going to be able to come out for another lap time here. So Pookie's time will stand. Currently, Pookie on provisional pole. And Ivan's Red Bull really not looking happy in the weather. We've got a yellow flag. Tiamo letting all the other drivers past. He's invalidated, but he still has a bit of time, I think, to get round and start another lap. As he lets other cars past. Everyone else taking it easy. This will be the last lap attempt for many people here. As Hyper is the first man onto his final flying lap attempt, followed by Bradley, and one of the... that would be Dan Edwin. Oh, I'm not certain who was first man onto the final flying lap. Someone was the first. Colin has invalidated. He has only 30 seconds to get round to the finish line, but I don't... attempt to start a faster lap. Oh, Leonard is retired. Leonard has decided that 9th place is the best he can do, or he's not able to improve. He really didn't look very happy on those tyres. I think Colin is going to be able to get another lap in. He's got 5 seconds. Almost. Car's going sideways and across the line with just milliseconds to spare, so he will get another lap time in. Car was going sideways for a second there. We've got a car going off. That's Faco. Has gone off through a woodcut. Oof. Car's not looking happy. Ivan, first man across the line, only goes 5th. 138.233. Faco will not improve. He will not manage to do better than 3rd place. Crowan has also retired. So Bradley is the first man to set. In fact, Bradley has invalidated. Dan Edwin has also invalidated, as has Hyper. So 3 drivers all have invalidated. Faco goes round again, all by his own accord. The only person who can challenge for pole at this moment is Tiamo, who is also invalidated. And Colin has also made a mistake and has retired on the old finish straight. So that is that. Pookie has a pole 3/10 faster than the next fastest man, and this man is a reserve driver, I think. He's not meant to be, he's not a regular driver, though he has been more regular than normal. That's really quite astonishing. Pookie! Pole in the Mercedes. It's almost like real life. In second place alongside him is Bradley in the Ferrari. Faco can only manage P3, starts in the second row. Crowan in the Williams in P4. Ivan in the first of the Red Bulls, P5. Hyper in the second Williams in P6. Colin, the first of the Aston Martins, P7. Dan Edwin in the second Red Bull in P8. Leonard having a really poor Q3 in the second Aston Martin. Only starts 9th. He's got his work cut out for him. And Tiamo in the McLaren finishes dead last, 10th behind Leonard. So that's the first pole position for Pookie. I think not bad for a number 2 driver. And it's a wet race, but not as wet as qualifying. It's only inter weather, I think. That's a very flat chocolate bar. So, formation lap. I've got time to finish this chocolate bar, I think. Or at least munch on it more. I'll eat it as fast as I can. So, all those people being disqualified, they're not actually being disqualified. It's just the game's way of saying, you messed up on the formation lap, so you get chucked back to the starting grid. Race is going to be completely wet, as I understand. Tim VD has also shown up in the second Mercedes. He starts at the back of the grid as he did not take part in qualifying. Final 2 drivers lining up, Sam and Tim VD. And it's lights out and away we go for a very sluggish getaway. Pookie maintains his lead into turn 1, going through village. Very treacherous conditions Not as treacherous as qualifying, of course. We've got someone who's already gone round. Leonard has had a poor start. Something has gone wrong for the Season 1 champion. And this is... Oh, man, it's just 8 positions down on where he started. Absolute nightmare of a day for the Season 1 champion. And his chances of taking a second championship just keep slipping away. Meanwhile, Faco is fighting for P3 with Crowan side by side through Brooklands. Manages to keep ahead through Woodcut. Uses his ERS. Whilst Crowan has not. Crowan and the Williams did take a little bit of a look through Corpse, but decided not to, as he did not want a repeat of the real-life race where Lewis Hamilton almost killed Max and got a 10-second penalty as a punishment. Meanwhile, Bradley, 4 tenths behind the Mercedes. The battle for the lead, not the closest. We've got Dan Edwin side by side with Colin, slightly behind though, as he wants that P7, but has to hold off for now. Behind Tim VD going side by side with Mockrane, Crazy Steve as well. Mockrane, I don't think has a synced. There's something wrong with the Alfa Romeo, so he's fallen down a position or two. So Mockrane technically penultimate place. Bradley has more connection issues, and that means he's falling down the order. And you really need to sort those out, man, because this really is not on. That's currently given the lead to Pookie. The Ferrari falling down the orders. Everyone goes through it. It's completely ghosted. Has he come back now? I don't know. No, he hasn't. There's still an Alpine going through, and it's just the AI driver is horrible. Closest battle on the field is Hyper. 3 tenths behind Ivan in the Red Bull, going through Cops. And we've lost the interval times because the game is stupid. So we've got to wait until everyone goes across the interval line. Pookie has I don't know how much of a lead, because it's not telling me. Down the field, Leonard is catching up to the 2 McLarens who have had a really shocking start. Both cars down 3 places. Mockrane has kept his position, but he's used almost all of his ERS defending from Wissenheimer, who has not used all of his ERS. We've got people coming into the pits. We've got Tim VD pitting, as well as Mockrane. Could there be damage on the 2 cars here? Not certain. We shall see. Tim has actually decided to retire. Yep, there was a contact. Both drivers getting new front wings. So Ivan is the next person. Is a car in P2. 3.5 seconds behind. Was that a car going round? I don't think so. We've got Ben Dixon and Colin side by side. I think Colin has made a move for position here and has got ahead of the Ferrari. Meanwhile, Bradley has recovered a few of his positions and is going past Sam. That was quite narrow, going through Cops, but managed to keep it clean. And he is ahead of the Alpine. That wasn't Sam, it was Toss, my mistake. Ben Dixon keeping close to Colin as Crazy Steve has picked up a penalty. I think he's a corner cut somewhere. Not easy to stay on the track when the track is so wet. Ivan, meanwhile, has fallen slightly further behind Pookie. Pookie was probably born for the wet races, but Ivan has gone fastest so far. 1:37.7. That's slightly slower than the pole time that Pookie did. In fact, I think it was actually slightly faster. In fact, Ivan has caught up slightly, but he's not had the best exit through Village. You know, our closest battle is still Ben Dixon and Colin, but Ben is falling slightly further behind. Faco has lost P3 at some point. Something went wrong for the AlphaTauri driver, so the championship leader now making his way past the AlphaTauri of Sam side by side into Brooklands. And he manages to get ahead, but takes a wider line and manages to keep the speed and takes P9 from the Alpine. He's now 4.3 seconds behind Toss in the other Alpine. We may get frame dropping in a minute because I forgot to turn off the what's it called? Steam overlay. So apologies if the stream does start dropping as Bradley gets past his teammate. Maybe Ben Dixon thinks that his teammate is going faster. And maybe that was a tactical move. Maybe Ben Dixon let him past. Wouldn't be surprised, as this is a team sport as well as a sport of your own drivers. So Ben Dixon probably hoping that Bradley can get past Colin, as Colin is definitely not the fastest car on track. Though saying that, Colin has caught up slightly to Dan Edwin ahead. This is actually looking like a very good race for Red Bull today, given how things have panned out for poor old Faco, who's not sure what happened to Faco there. I didn't see it. But Faco has narrowed that gulf somewhat. He was now only 3.6 seconds behind Toss/Tim in the other Alpine. Meanwhile, down the field, we've got Crowan, who's also not had a very good race so far. Down 8 positions, gets past Tiamo in the McLaren. Side by side through Copse, the McLaren has to yield as Crowan seeks to regain his position through Maggots and Beckett's. Tiamo has plenty of battery to play with, but he's not using it as Leonard gets a 3-second time penalty. Only 7/10 behind Tiamo. Pookie sets the fastest lap now, slightly faster than the previous fastest lap, as the gap is still 3.6 seconds. Bradley also goes faster, 1:37.6. But Faco goes even faster still, 1:37.4. So he's managed to close that gap an entire second since we last saw him. The AlphaTauri driver had a shocking first few laps, but he's seeking to remedy those mistakes and get back as many points as he can. But there's still quite a ways to go. We're only 6 laps into this 26-lap race. Bradley, meanwhile, has closed the gap. Less than 3/10 behind Bradley as Dan Edwin picks up a penalty. So where would that put him? Currently, he would finish in 7th behind Ben Dixon if the race were to end right now, but there's still 20 laps to go. He can still try and pull away and remedy... not remedy. I can't remember the right words. However, Dan Edwin, seeing that he has a penalty, is now really pressuring Hyper in front. Hyper not exactly hyper fast at this moment, as Bradley has made a move on Colin, gets past the Aston Martin into Vale, and the Aston Martin trying to keep pace. Fastest lap attempt, meanwhile, belongs to someone. That's Ivan, who's gone 1:37.2. So that Red Bull is really currently a rocket in these conditions, and I think he's narrowing that gap. Yes, he's 5 tenths closer. I think the Mercedes is faster on the straights, but the Red Bull is faster through the corners. So it's a race of attrition at the... not attrition... what that... blah, brain! Get the right words, please. Bradley now, on an absolute charge, has already dropped 6 tenths, almost 7 tenths to Colin behind, and is now about 3 tenths behind Dan Edwin, who has not been able to capitalize on his earlier pace, who is still 3 tenths behind Hyper. This is the closest battle so far. Bradley dumping his ERS, but Dan Edwin has a lot more ERS to play with. Through Stowe, and Bradley taking a look. He manages to close further. Will he attempt another dive bomb into Vale? No, he does not. He keeps it clean for now. But he's definitely got a lot better traction than the Red Bull. Bradley very close to Dan Edwin now. Less than 2 tenths. Is he going to make a dive into Village? No, he's not. He's going to keep it for now. Little bit of a opposite lock there. Crowan picks up a 3-second time penalty as he is less than a tenth behind Sam. We'll take a look at Crowan here. Very, very close. He's got so much better traction than the Alpine. Meanwhile, Bradley is not as close as he was before, as Crowan's looking up the inside of Brooklands, or whatever it's called. Going around the outside. Can he keep it? Goes into the curb. Uses the ERS to get ahead. Oh, there's a bit of a contact, but not too much. Bit of dirty driving there, but Williams manages to get past the Alpine in the end. Meanwhile, Bradley has had a not too great of a lap. He's fallen slightly behind the Red Bull there, as Ivan has actually closed up to 1.5 seconds behind the Mercedes of Pookie. And Faco has not been able to improve past 9th at this time. And Bradley once again has connection issues, and he's dropped back to P7. So these connection issues are just really hampering his race here, as he's still not been able to rejoin, and now he's fallen down to P9. So I really don't know what's going on for Bradley here. And I think he's rejoined now. So it's just absolute disaster every single race for Bradley, who seems to he just has so much pace, but he's just not able to capitalize on it because his internet is just cutting out or something. Oh, Leonard has had a mistake. Something has gone wrong. He's down even further. I think he's spun his tyres up. His car did not want to get going. Leonard down into 15th. And he's lost all of his pace. It's just not all gone wrong for Leonard here. Who is, for once, behind his teammates. Which is a really rare sight. Crazy Steve has made a mistake through cops. But he's not gone off. Tiamo Power just behind the Alpine of Sam. Meanwhile, going through Vale. As the intervals come back. Closest battle currently, Dan Edwin, less than 3 tenths behind Hyper, as he's trying to find a bit more pace. Williams losing the back end slightly, getting a bit wobbly. Got another Sector 3 as Crazy Steve DNFs. Not certain what happened there. He's just gone off the track. I think it looks like he lost it. Not entirely certain what happened there. As Leonard is pitting, potentially to retire. The safety car has come out. Leonard is pitting for fresh rubber, but he's not coming out. Oh, no, he has come out. It's just a bit of lag. So a bit of a reprieve for everyone as Crazy Steve's retirement. Oh, and Tim has picked up a drive-through penalty. That Tim/Toss, that is not very smart. You don't really want to be doing that. And remember, Tim, I don't know if you're watching or can hear this, but do not pit under the safety car unless you want to change tyres, because you can't serve a drive-through under the safety car. So will Pookie pit? Yes, Pookie pits. Ivan pits. Hyper will probably pit as well. Bradley once again has connection issues. Everyone pitting for fresh intermediate tyres. How will things go, though? There's going to be a bit of a traffic jam, and Tim, adding insult to injury, he speeds in the pit lane. Absolute calamity. Oh, and there's double stacking going on there. If Bradley's bot comes through and blocks, that was Toss from coming out. Sam stays out, and he moves up into P3, but he's still on those same old tyres. So, let's see the tyres. Yep, Sam still on those 10-lap-old Inters. Everyone else is on fresh Inters with 0 laps. But Sam is gambling that his tyres will have enough grip to keep going, but he will have to pit, and I can't see this as anything but a negative for Sam, because he can't exactly pit now. He has to stick with it. If he pits now, he'll be down into really quite a poor position between the two McLarens of Tiamo and Wissenheimer. But maybe he knows something that everyone else doesn't. The safety car will go on for a little while, as we've got to wait for everyone to catch up. Mock Crane 17 seconds behind Leonard, as we lose the interval again. Fastest lap currently belongs to Ivan with 1:37.289. It's 3/10 faster than Pookie, but only 1/10 faster than Faco. Let's see if we can pick up. Let's see what sort of lap times people have been doing. 1:37.5 was Pookie's best lap time, and that was the final fast lap before the safety car. Pace has been around 1:37, but he had a poor lap 8. Ivan has been generally also around 1:37, 1:37.599. There's Pookie, mostly slower. So it looks like that Ivan can take it here, but we'll see as Toss, as I suppose he used this opportunity to. Actually, I don't know if you can serve penalties under the safety car either. So I don't think that was a very smart move from Toss here. Evidently, he's not watching the stream. because you can't serve penalties under the safety car. Any penalties. So that's a bit of a waste of time. You've lost all your positions there, but you're probably going to lose them anyway. And now he's got to catch back up to Mokrain. He's currently 15th and last, as this Mercedes is trying to have a race against the Aston Martin safety car. First time I think I've seen it in action this weekend. Not this weekend. And since it was introduced. Don't crash into it, Pookie. Bad things will happen if you crash into the safety car. I don't think Bernd Mayland likes it when you dent his safety cars. Nor does Michael Mazzi either. Or Jean Todt. Voice braking for no reason. The safety car is in this lap. So it's up to Pookie to control the field. And I'm not sure if he's doing a good enough job of it. He's gone quite fast. You need to bunch the field up. You've got to wait for the safety car to come in. Keeping the field slow as he comes through Vale, and I think he's going to go now. But Ivan is very close. I don't think Pookie did a particularly good job of that, but then again, he's probably asked me to try and do better. Currently, Hyper is less than a tenth behind Sam, and he gets past Sam. Where is Sam? What's happened to Sam? Sam has gone off. Sam has spun through the village section. And yeah, unfortunately, things have not paid off for poor old Sammy boy, as Tim comes through the pit lane again. And I don't know if he's still got a penalty. We shall see. He still has the drive-through. It's still not paid off for him. So he served the 5 seconds, but he still has the drive-through. Poor old Toss has not having a very good day today. And Pookie is already more than a second ahead of Ivan. So Pookie is just finding an incredible amount of pace on these fresh inters that Ivan just isn't. Tiamo picks up a penalty. Where else is everyone? It's hard to tell which battle to look at first, because lots of people within a close distance, as we've got yellow flags. Currently, it's hard to tell who to look at. Bradley, less than 3/10 behind Faco, who is less than 3/10 behind Dan Edwin. Faco, very, very close to the Red Bull of Dan Edwin, who I think has lost a couple of positions. He was up in 4th at one point, but Colin and Ben Dixon have got past Dan Edwin, who I don't think he's had a very good start there, as it looked like Crowan was drifting through Farm there. And Tim picks up another 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, disastrous race for Toss. Tim Toss. Currently, Bradley and Faco, closest drivers to each other. Bradley, though, has lost a couple of tenths to Faco, but Faco is still keeping Dan Edwin honest here. Closest driver of anyone on the track. That's not Dan Edwin. For some reason, it's looking at Faco, even though I told it to look at Dan Edwin. Safety car has, I think, neutralized what was a pretty good race up until this point. Oh, someone was very close there for a moment there. Bradley taking a look up the inside of Faco, but Decides not to try and take the opportunity. Pookie sets the fastest lap, 1:36.784. First man enters 1:36s. Bradley goes 3/10 faster than his previous best. I'm not sure who to look at here. It's Ivan is still 1.2 seconds behind Pookie, but he's definitely slower on the straights than the Mercedes. Yes, this is definitely the closest battle. Dan Edwin defending P6 from Faco in the AlphaTauri, Bradley in the Ferrari, and now Crowan in the Williams. This is the closest battle on the track at the moment. So Red Bull approaches Copse. Currently, it's Bradley closer to Faco than Faco is to Dan Edwin. We've got a yellow flag. And we've got a DNF. And another safety car. I think Tim Toss might have lost it, or he just decided to retire in the worst place imaginable. Fortunately, we can't really see what's happened to him. See, ride on board with Pookie, see what state his car is in. And that car is facing the wrong way, yet he absolutely lost it through the final corner. He must have lost a wheel. So that is an accident for the Alpine driver. What was looking like a decent weekend turned into a nightmare as he picked up a drive-through and then tried taking a million tried going through the pits to serve it under the safety car when he should have known that that isn't gonna work. So Pookie leads. Ivan second, Hyper up into third. We have picked up a subscription, I think. Colin is in P4. Much better. He was in P5 at one point. Let's see what that alert was. It's a subscription. Yay! Colin in P4. Ben Dixon in P5. Dan Edwin P6 manages to hold on to that. Faco P7, Bradley P8 after he was up in second at the start of the race. And Bradley has once again got connection issues. I really don't know what's going on here. And I really hope that the game doesn't give his position to the people behind him, as that has happened to me before. You lag out and then the game just sort of gifts positions to the people behind you. But hopefully he'll be able to reconnect before the safety car period ends. We've got to wait for Sam, who is 30 seconds behind the P13 of Mockrane. Of course, and then you go to leader, and then it gets rid of all the times. So I don't know how far behind Sam is anymore, because why would I want to know the interval times? In fact, Crowan has got past Bradley, I think, because the game is stupid and thinks that because someone disconnects, that's an excuse to let people behind past. That's really not on. Sam is now 30 seconds behind the leader, getting closer every second. Oh, and there's a car going round. Tiamo has lost it through Village on a very slow lap. That's not gone very well for the McLaren driver. This has not been a particularly good weekend for the McLaren duo. And now he finds himself in the penultimate position. And he's wanting to get that position back. But you can't take it back. You lost it. You spun out and allowed other people pass. They're not going to stop for you, mate. It's your own fault for losing it, I'm afraid. So I think the safety car will be in this lap as Sam has caught up to the rest of the pack. I think Pookie's trying to make his engine blow up before the race ends. I think Bradley is back. I'm not entirely certain though. I would hope so. Yeah, that's human interaction. He's back. So Bradley will be on a charge to try and take back as many positions as he can. This is a race winner after all. He won in Spain. So Pookie controlling the field, but Ivan keeping very close to the Mercedes. Ivan definitely in with a chance of winning the race here as Pookie sets off to restart the race on lap 18. And Ivan is less than 4/10 behind, but the raw straight line speed of the Mercedes is just more than Ivan can handle. Ivan definitely has the cornering abilities, but he doesn't have the straight line speed. Dan Edwin, meanwhile, has fallen down to 9th. He's had a nightmare restart. Crowan and Bradley has got back past Crowan, meanwhile. And now, Crowan, meanwhile, is trying to get back, but he's not able to do it. He cuts over the curb. That's probably a warning. So Dan Edwin, who wasn't in 4th, fell down to 6th and has had another nightmare restart, is now only in P9. Meanwhile, Leonard is back up into the points with P10. Colin, meanwhile, less than 3/10 behind Hyper. Colin could be on for a podium here today. Onto the hangar straight. It's not the Aston Martin dumping the CRS, but Hyper using a little bit more to try and keep that Aston Martin behind. Ivan, meanwhile, is falling just further and further behind Pookie. He managed to gain a little bit of time. Oh, Leonard picks up a time penalty. So, looks like Leonard could finish outside of the points, but he just needs to gain 3 seconds on Wisenheimer, and I think he can do that. Meanwhile, behind Faco, Ben Dixon chasing after Colin, who's chasing after Hyper, who's chasing after Ivan, who's chasing after Pookie. But I think at the moment, Pookie just has more speed and traction than Ivan does. Ivan is throwing everything he can at the Mercedes here, but he's just not able to keep up. He was falling behind. I think he's using just a bit more ERS than the Mercedes is to try and keep up. But he definitely has more downforce. He was faster through that turn there, but he's had a bit of a poor traction zone out of the woodcut, and he's almost a second behind now. And he is now a second behind Pookie. We've got a yellow flag. I don't know why. There's nothing there. And the yellow flag... Oh, Leonard has fallen behind again. Something went wrong for Leonard, who's now in the final position. So Leonard, I think he's spun. He was up into 10th, but he's had a nightmare lap there, lap 19. And now he's down to 14th, so he's going to finish outside of the points unless he can find some miraculous pace. Pookie goes 3/10 faster than the previous best. 1:36.343. It's almost a Halo game, isn't it? Meanwhile, Faco, less than 2/10 behind Ben Dixon. He doesn't go for a move just now. He locks up into farm/village. Leonard retires as he goes into the pit lane. That's his race over. His weekend has ended. It's been a nightmare for Leonard, the Season 1 champion, and this is just hurting his ability to fight. He's just not been able to find the consistency. Meanwhile, Ben Dixon, less than 5/10 behind Colin, who has fallen further behind the Williams of Hyper. Things are looking rather stagnant, though. Ivan cannot catch up to Pookie, and Hyper cannot catch up to Ivan. And Colin's just falling further behind the Williams. So we have a most unusual podium as far as CRS is concerned. A Mercedes leading the race and winning in this universe. That's unheard of. Oh, Faco is making a move on is that Bradley? No, he's making a move on Ben Dixon. He's going side by side. Has he got the move covered off? He's leading into Vale, and he is ahead, exiting Vale. Faco has got up into P5. He caught Ben Dixon napping, and Bradley takes evasive maneuvers, goes off the track to avoid hitting his teammate. Will Ben Dixon let Bradley past again? It looks like he is. He's letting his teammate past. The faster of the two Ferraris is once again able to fight for position here. All he has to do is not have poor internet. Bradley has less ERS to play with than Faco does. And meanwhile, Colin actually has a lot of ERS to play with. 90%. Ivan, meanwhile, is just dumping it. He's using so much to try and keep pace with Pookie, but he's just not able to keep up. Things are not... Ivan is desperate for a win here. It would be his first win of the season. Potentially his first win for a while, actually. But he's just not able to keep up. He has caught up slightly through Maggots and Beckett's, but once again, on the straight, he is just no match for the Mercedes here. Meanwhile, Bradley is incredibly close to Faco. He was less than 2/10 behind, but he's not had the best exit through Stowe. Meanwhile, both McLarens, who are out of the points just a few laps ago, are now at 8th and 10th. And Tiamo could be taking 9th from Mockrang, so it won't be... It's sort of damage control from the McLaren pairing, if things keep going their way. Bradley not having the best village section. He's 6/10 behind Faco, but he's now 5/10 uses the ERS, so is Faco. Gonna want a bit of that slipstream, but Bradley did not take the opportunity of the slipstream. Decided to try and keep his car cool as Ben Dixon goes past his teammate. I don't think Bradley has had more connection issues. I think he just lost pace and let his teammate past. It's Ben Dixon is 1.3 seconds behind Faco. Faco is finding a major amount of pace. He could find... words are not coming. The train of thought has derailed. Not quite, but he's less than 5/10. So less than 4/10 behind Colin in the Aston Martin. He's got so much pace. He started this race in P3. He fell down the order at very close... not long after the start, and now he's back up into P5 and looking like he could take P4 for what would be a very good recovery drive here. Oh, bit of a loose rear end. He clipped the curb there. Fortunately, didn't lose it. Bradley has also got back past Ben Dixon. So once again, he's chasing after Faco. Chiamo, meanwhile, is less than 4/10 behind Mokrane. Pressuring that Alfa Romeo, trying to get past. Very, very close, but he's not had a very good exit there. Dumping the ERS, so is Mokrane. Oh, Bradley falls back again. Not certain what's going on with Bradley here. He's not having a very good entrance into the slow section of Sector 2. Brooklands, Village Brooklands, whatever it's called. And Bradley has had a disconnection, so he's going to fall down the order, and it's gonna give his position to Wissenheimer unless he can reconnect. And because there's 3 laps left to go, Bradley is not going to be able to recover those positions, I don't think. Wissenheimer is now closing in on the stricken Ferrari. 1 second separates them. But that is going to keep falling. Bradley leaves the session again. He's still having connection issues. The car is slow through Stowe. And yeah, Wissenheimer saw the opportunity to use all of his ERS. And he's got up into P7. Meanwhile, Ivan has actually closed the distance to Pookie. He's less than half a second behind Pookie. I don't know what happened there. Maybe he found some pace. Maybe Pookie made a mistake. Pookie has poor traction out of Village there. We've got a yellow flag. We did for a second. Oh, the car's gone off. Crowan has had a mistake. Crowan has gone off. So that caps off the really poor weekend for Crowan there. He was in a very good position to start with, but things just didn't go well. What state is that car in? I don't know if there was a collision there. I don't know exactly. Meanwhile, Sam gets up into P10, going past Bradley, whose connection issues have absolutely ruined his race here. Meanwhile, Pookie has found a bit more pace. He's got 2/10 ahead of Ivan. Could Ivan have a bit more pace on the straights all of a sudden? Could Pookie have damage somehow? I don't think so. He hasn't hit anything. Oh, he's got a massive lockup. So that can't have helped. But it wasn't enough for Ivan to really capitalize on it. This is going to go down to the wire here, folks. Faco is also less than 4/10 behind Colin. He's looking for that P4 finish. He is on the hunt. Meanwhile, Ivan is still about half a second behind Pookie. Pookie gets a much better exit. Ivan does not get as good an exit. And he's gonna have to keep the attack off for just another lap. He only has a few more chances to get this right. To try and get past the Mercedes without crashing the Mercedes out. Dan Edwin goes fastest with a 1:35.9. First man to do a 1:35 time today. Who wasn't on a dry tyre. We've got yellow flags. Ivan has spun as just moments after he set the fastest lap. Faco, meanwhile, is still behind Colin. Oh, Crowan, you got taken out. I did wonder what happened to you. It was a weird place to have a spin. But I suppose FIA will have a look at that after the race. So that's just been a rotten race for you. I'm really gutted for you. You were in a good position at the start of the race. But we go on to the final lap now. Pookie, less than 4/10 separate Pookie and Ivan here. Pookie is going to be defending for all of his might. Both drivers have an equal amount of ERS to play with. Pookie, the gap closes to 3/10 through Village. Ivan is desperate for this win. He is the closest he's been since the safety car but he's falling slightly further back. The Mercedes just has more speed when he's using the ERS. Oh, this is... I can't speak. My heart's in my throat. Ivan keeping the Mercedes honest. He's dumping his ERS once again. He's got a bit more to play with. It could be crucial. Going through cops. Ivan getting... No, he was getting closer, but then he's falling behind again. It's just not been working out for Ivan. He only has maybe 1 or 2 more opportunities to get past the Mercedes. He's going to use everything he can as Faco picks up a penalty, which means he is not going to finish even P5. He is going to finish in P6 if the race ends right now. Ivan is close, was within 2 seconds. He's doing everything he can, using all the ERS, but it's not going to be enough as they go into fail. Through the chicane, it is going to be Pookie who has held onto the lead since lap 1. Pookie takes the victory. Pookie, just the reserve driver, takes the win with 4 tenths to spare on Ivan, who takes P2, the consolation prize, and Hyper, who has an excellent weekend, takes the podium in the Williams. And Colin manages to survive, hold off the assault of Faco, holds onto P4 to take 12 points for Aston Martin. Faco manages to keep hold of P5, actually. I think Ben Dixon had a poor final lap there. Unless, I think actually Ben Dixon might have had a penalty of his own. Let's see if we can find that. Penalties, it doesn't show anymore. So fastest lap point will not go to anyone. There will be no fastest lap point given on this occasion as Dan Edwin picked up the fastest lap and he is out of the points. So it's a bit of a bittersweet weekend day for Red Bull as Ivan finishes on the podium but narrowly misses out on the victory, and Dan Edwin finishes down in 12th and last on track. Yeah, that was a really unfortunate weekend for you, Leonard. And I could see that this will be a race you'll want to forget in a hurry. It just really did not go well for you. I'm gutted, because I know you have so much pace. But Pookie, reserve driver, takes the victory. Maybe he can have my seat, because I'm not driving the Mercedes anymore. I'm doing this. You should give him a seat, Colin. Let him have a permanent seat. Oh, and just in time for the stream to start dropping frames. Just in time for the stream to drop frames. I don't know when that started. Let me see if I can find if that just started. It was fine on lap 25. Still fine. It was fine on lap 26. Fine on lap 26. Fine on lap 26. Yep, it only just started, really, the frame dropping, so that's fine by me. If the race kept up with itself. So, I didn't see many incidents aside from some spins that happened through driver error. I didn't see any collisions that were really of note. Well, there was one. I think, was it Leonard? Someone overtaking Sam. I think maybe it was Bradley. But I don't think that would have been any calling for FIA, but there was definitely an FIA-worthy event that happened towards the end of the race between Crowan and someone else. Not sure who it was. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching this. It's been forgot to turn those on. So Ivan had 10, 11 wings. Don't know who what 8, 9. So Pookie did have the straight line speed. That's a no wonder he was able to keep pace there. I've made a mistake. Don't watch. I'll cut that out. I'll see if I can cut it out. Oh no. Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Goodbye. Where's the button?